guys, what is going on? We are starting our Back to Basics mini series with our mini challenge that we have going on. And today I did want to touch on the gut, but we're going to do a different spin on the gut because I truly believe this will help a lot of us in our community. How your gut affects your menstrual cycle symptoms. I've had really bad periods growing up into high school, got put on birth control because of it. And when I got off birth control, I was having bad periods again. And lo and behold, our gut does play a role in our menstrual cycle symptoms and things that we experience. And I'm going to go over that because I feel like it's going to be very empowering for you all to understand why I always say all of us need to focus on our gut health, as well as other organs, helping our other organs function at their best naturally, so we can have balanced hormones and not experience really bad periods or even menopause, things like that down the road, and maintain healthy bones and all of this good stuff. Literally, this is key. So again, I know a lot of us have heavy periods, heavy bleeding, maybe long duration, very bad bloat, water retention, heavy cramping, maybe infertility, endometriosis, PCOS, breast cancer running in the family. These things are important to understand when I talk why these occur, what I'm going to talk about right now, okay? So our gut microbiome actually plays a role in estrogen metabolism. And that is super important because estrogen, when we have excess estrogen, those things I just listed a second ago can occur. So we really want to help our body to be able to dispose of excess estrogen. So I'm going to go over that process. So estrogen rises and falls 2 times in our whole entire cycle, not just when we are bleeding but the whole entire cycle rises and falls. So it's important to have estrogen balanced across because it does influx every month, 2 times a month. And where does this estrogen come from? It's produced by our ovaries. Then what happens is that estrogen goes into our bloodstream, it goes around and into our liver. Our liver then deactivates this extra estrogen that we do not need, and then it goes to our gut, our digestive tract, for us to then dispose or poop out that excess estrogen. So there's 2 things here. One, for me, for example, I was constipated a lot ever since I was a kid. So I started my period when I was in 5th grade. Okay, and so if I was constipated as a kid, having trouble pooping, my body was having trouble eliminating estrogen. So my periods were bad by the time I hit high school. Estrogen was definitely built up in my system, more than likely that way, because my body wasn't disposing of that properly and consistently. Twofold then with then being on birth control, that does hinder our liver function. And our liver plays a role of deactivating that estrogen. So if we've been taking hits with our liver with taking long-term medication, that can then again affect how estrogen is metabolized and then build up. Then we have that hormone imbalance occur across time as that builds up. So there's 2 things right there where that can be a problem if our body isn't able to dispose of estrogen properly. Another thing as well, gut dysbiosis is a term used when our gut, good and bad bacteria is not balanced. Our gut is not balanced with good bacteria. And what can happen when it's not balanced and our bacteria is off? These bad gut bugs create an enzyme. This enzyme in our gut actually reactivates estrogen after it's been inactivated by our liver. So if it goes to our liver, it's inactivated, it goes to our gut. We have all these bad gut bugs creating this enzyme that then is turning our estrogen back on essentially, again, then going back into our body, and our body's not able to eliminate that properly. So that's just another example of, again, why our gut is imperative to take care of. So let me go through and make sure I didn't miss anything here. I went over excess levels of estrogen in general can cause heavy bleeding, bad cramping. These are all things I had really maybe a longer duration of periods, like I went through. Mood swings, fluid retention, so you feel extra bloaty, you feel like your body's just hanging on to things. Fat deposits, also hard to lose fat in certain areas. And then, like I said at the beginning, it can trigger things like endometriosis, PCOS, and breast cancer. And that's, of course, more long term. So with then all of this, obviously, this can slow down our digestion. So all of these things, literally just by our body not being able to dispose of this estrogen, can build up and cause all of these things that we feel every single month. And I feel that it is very important to get our liver in check, especially if we've been on birth control or any kind of maybe you've been on antibiotics, anything that is taking a toll on the liver. Drinking alcohol, okay, that's a big one for the liver. That's very commonly known. And then taking care of our gut, getting our gut rebalanced, rebooted, re-inoculated, ready to flourish and ready to dispose of that estrogen, to poop it out, and to really get that good balance going with those two things. Absolutely. I've worked very hard over the course of the years. I've been off birth control since I turned 26. I'm now 30. It's taken me time. I started with whole foods. I added in my OptiGreens 50, and now I take Harmony. I still keep saying I need to take the liver detox that First Form has as well. And those are the three things, the Harmony and the OptiGreens 50 are the two things I'm taking currently to help with that. If you know you have a bad gut, GI Advantage is a gut healer, and that's really good too. As far as food goes, now we're going to talk about real whole foods. Specifically, we're going to talk about fermented foods. So think sauerkraut, think a good quality yogurt. I personally like Siggy's or Organic Valley. Walmart has Organic Valley. Those are going to be examples of fermented foods. And then also remember, your vegetables are going to have prebiotics in them, and your fruits are going to have prebiotics in them. So eating those fresh fruits and vegetables are going to help with nourishing the gut, as well as then, like I said, those fermented foods. And kombucha is another great example. But here's the thing, like with me and a lot of us in here, I'm going to go over one more thing, but before I do, let me say this. A lot of us in here we like to have a few drinks. We're on medication. We've been on birth control. We experience a lot of stress. And also, this is the last point I wanted to make is, I'm going to say it wrong, gosh darn it, Xenestrogens, it's spelled with the X, that's why I can see it and you say it wrong. Xenestrogens are in our environment as well, which create that influx of estrogen in our body as well. Where do these primarily come from? Think skincare, what we put on our skin. Think of our sunscreen. Think of the shampoos. Think of laundry detergents and cleaners, things like that. Xenestrogens are in our environment, also creating that estrogen dominance, which again is making it harder and harder for our body to dispose of. So we are encountering all of these things, and our body needs help. So not only is it with our food and our drink, but it's also with adding in good supplementation. And the reason why I think I stress the food and the supplementation so much is because it is hard to really, if you don't really understand everything in the body and have a good solid foundation of that, it's hard to believe somebody telling you that that's really what's going to help you when we're so used to taking medication to help ourselves and it's going away like that. That's putting a Band-Aid over it. We're talking about healing here. So say you implement in Harmony, but then you're not fixing your food. You also need to fix your food. You're taking OptiGreens 50, you also need to fix your food. So these are things that go hand in hand. We always talk about an integrative approach in Team Schmidt Fit because that is truly how to live a healthy and balanced life. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I hope this was helpful. And let's make it a great mini challenge week. I'm so excited. All right, bye guys.